All right, everybody, we've got a new Palantir product. Palantir has recently announced a new product that we are going to talk about today. This product specifically has to do with two sectors. Number one, the government, and number two, Europe. Now, before we get into this product, a couple things to talk about that. The government is a huge business for Palantir. The governmental revenue has not been growing at the rate that we thought it would be growing at, and that's primarily because 2020, 2021 were a little bit outlier years. The federal budget hasn't really been released, and the Ukrainian-Russian crisis, which is supposed to accelerate Palantir's government revenue, hasn't really been shown on their earnings as of yet, and that's why they said in Q2 you should expect some more volatility to the upside when that government revenue does come in. So we're going to see what happens over the next couple quarters in terms of Palantir's governmental revenue. It's ironic because people used to hate them because they were only a governmental company and they couldn't get commercial revenue. Now they're going commercial 100% year over year, and people are getting upset that the government revenue is not growing as fast. So, you can't really win with these things. All you have to do is try to get through them and be able to grow as much as you can. So governmental revenue is important. Governmental products are important. The second thing is Europe. Palantir has been making very, very strong attempts to penetrate the Europe market in a meaningful way. They're working with Lithuania, Poland, and the United Kingdom on their Ukrainian refugee crisis. They've expanded into Germany. Alex Karp did an entire hour-long interview that I'm going to be breaking down a lot more of. That came out around April, and I talked a little bit about it, but not too much about that interview. But he talked for an hour around ethics and GDPR and privacy. That was in Germany. And Palantir is obviously working with the NHS in the United Kingdom, trying to secure a $300 million deal that is likely going to be going to a company like Palantir to overhaul the data analytics systems for the NHS. They've already worked with the NHS on COVID vaccine distribution. They got a $34 million deal from them expiring December 2022. So Europe's a big market for Palantir. Palantir knows this. The governments in Europe are a big market. I believe Palantir suspects their governmental TAM to be like $56 to $60 billion. A lot of that is going to be coming from Europe. I mean, there are many, many, many governmental agencies in Europe and many governmental bodies in Europe, like federal type of governments in Europe, that don't have any types of data analytics systems in place specifically designed for mission critical work, the type of stuff that Palantir does. So today they announced something to make an attempt to get into that. Palantir Gotham Europe. This is Palantir's attempt to bring Gotham, the governmental system that they've had very successfully implemented in the United States, into Europe. Intelligence and law enforcement agencies around the world have relied on Palantir to power their most critical work while safeguarding their most sensitive data. Europa represents the most significant upgrade ever to the software that makes this possible. The newest, most powerful version of Gotham has arrived. Palantir has always been infrastructure agnostic as our work requires meeting our customers wherever they are in the world. Europa brings new capabilities to allow customers granular control over their infrastructure and data sovereignty. Again, the ability for countries to control how they manage their data and the sovereignty, the independence they have over that data is incredibly valuable, and it's sort of the ethos of what Palantir feels their products allow. Organizations can adopt a hybrid hosting solutions and plug in preferred local AI vendors at the place where each vendor can deliver the most value, which means Palantir is kind of like selling the infrastructure, and people can plug in different things that work within that infrastructure. It's why Palantir's Foundry can work with AWS and Google, because it's building on top of those cloud-based platforms. European law enforcement official. The functionality in Palantir's Europa release has changed how my organization fights crime. In addition to protecting data better, we are able to incorporate digital forensics into our workflows in ways that we could only imagine just a few years ago. Is this video? Yes. Let's watch a little bit of their video. This is about a 2-minute video, so let's take a look at their introduction video.
We live in a different world now than we did at the start of this year.
Continue to confront cyber criminals.
Ongoing humanitarian crisis.
The Gotham Europa release is built to deal with the chaotic nature of the modern threat landscape. This is the state-of-the-art operating system for modern intelligence and law enforcement agencies. As always, Palantir raises the bar to define how analysts can collaborate securely. Europa's newest collaboration features are chat and slides. With chat, analysts can now connect directly with colleagues in their own organizations.
That looks like Discord a little bit, right? It low-key looks a little bit like Discord. So they're building a chat infrastructure within sensitive data. Now, some people might look at that and be like, oh, that's just Discord, that's just Slack. Well, Discord and Slack aren't the safe kind of versions of actually having these very, very confidential forms of communication. So while it may be simple, if you're integrating that within something that's protecting the sovereignty of your data and, who has access to it, who doesn't have access to it, it still is an incredibly valuable feature, even though it may seem like a simple chat-based feature.
In their own organizations and approved partner agencies in real time. Secure collaboration on the information being discussed is just a drag and drop away. Slides can save analysts countless hours spent building reports and presentations. And thanks to Slides, presentations are now data aware and security aware.
So that's the thing there. Someone might say, oh, well, this is just like PowerPoint or Google Slides. It's like, yes, but presentations being data aware and security aware are truly a differentiating factor. I mean, the ability to actually make sure these presentations stay in the right place can be the difference between bad things happening or lots of money being lost versus good things happening. So it's interesting that they're building out these features specifically for the Europa version of Gotham.
Ushering in a new generation of transparency for people making some of the toughest decisions in the world. Europa's sophisticated machine learning capabilities enable users to test machine learning models, supporting those decisions before they are deployed, ensuring effective, responsible, operational use of AI in highly volatile environments. Europa also comes integrated with Meta Constellation, which redefines how analysts can work with and tap into the entire commercial space industry.
So Meta Constellation is big. It's a really interesting element of Palantir's product. And it basically allows you to get real-time information from space via geospatial intelligence, IoT-connected devices, satellites that are bringing that information back into a software like Meta Constellation onto the platform that you're using it on, which would be Palantir's Gotham. So like being able to actually tap into the entire commercial space industry and then relate that back to government critical mission decisions, that's unique stuff, right? And that's in this new version of Palantir Gotham Europa, which hopefully governments will see the value of and, buy more of it as a result of that.
Meta Constellation and many other applications are possible because under the hood, Europa is powered by a new data integration engine and platform architecture. These give our customers' own data engineers working behind the scenes the most powerful suite of capabilities ever. And as always, multi-layered privacy and security help to ensure that our customers keep granular control over their data and decisions every step of the way. For over a decade, Palantir has worked with leading analysts and investigators around the world. Europa encodes all of this experience in our most significant update yet to revolutionize how institutions collaborate and build intelligence.
Interesting stuff. So there we go. Palantir Gotham Europa. Secure collaboration made simple. Machine learning capabilities for every type of data. Deploy machine learning models at scale to detect object and event matches across various sync-centered data types. State-of-the-art full motion video capabilities, audio capabilities powered by AI. There's probably a lot of transcribe. Yeah, so machine learning powered audio module. Audio can be transcribed, translated, and entities can be extracted. Web browser enabled, which means you don't have to be on a different app. You can actually use it up right on a Google Chrome desktop. Director, European Intelligence Agency. The security and data integrations features in Palantir's European release have allowed us to work with data that we simply couldn't have worked with before. This work has become some of our most important and operationally relevant work in the world today, and it would not be happening without Palantir. This is really interesting stuff, man. Videos like this, again, make me just excited to invest in Palantir because, again, it's just like the types of ways they're integrating data in relationship to just one sector of the, I think, hundreds of verticals they can integrate into, which is in this case just law enforcement, policing, governmental defense, is already incredible, right? Because that is kind of like a network effect because it works with Meta Constellation, but Meta Constellation can also work with commercial sectors, but now it's feeding the governmental stuff. And it's interoperable, right? It works in a lot of different ways. And it's interesting how it operates. So this is a really interesting product release. I think some of the core features there are specific to actually allowing this to expand into the European markets. And if it is able to effectively expand into the European markets, well, we've got a good price coming into the software, and hopefully we've got a good price that's being paid for this software as a result of it. Now, is the stock price going to reflect it? I don't know. Palantir's up today. It's like 830, 840. It's not something that I'm particularly caring about in the context of new product releases, right? New product releases are fine, but I don't think that's affecting the stock price. I think the stock price is absolutely neutral to whatever's going on outside of the macro, right? A little bit more bad news, it'll go back down. A little bit more good news, it might go up, but that's all contingent on the macro. I don't think that's contingent on product features. So we're going to see what happens. Overall, at this point, I'm concerned about the product, what the product is doing, how the product is interacting, not really with the stock price. Even though there may be fluctuations in the stock price, I really don't think it is correlated with the product at this moment and the new product features that are coming out. But the long-term stability of the company absolutely is associated with new products and product features. And that's the stuff that I'm interested in exploring. So let's see if Palantir can get this into Europe. We already know they're working with various institutions in Europe, various governments in Europe that I talked about at the beginning of the video. Let's see if they can keep expanding. And if they can keep expanding and provide, the one and only software that actually integrates a government's data and gives them real-time abilities to do things with that data to make meaningful decisions, then we will see how it scales. Thank you guys so much for watching. The article on this is at dailypalantir.com. You can see the written word version of this, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.